rhymes and rip 'em down. Take my and sip 'em now. I will tell them I am.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome. My name is Laura if you do not know, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about books that disappointed me. And now, I recently made a video on my channel called Books That I Hate. If you've not seen it, I will have it linked down below. But I was on Twitter and a lovely follower of mine suggested that I should make a video talking about the books that I was super excited to read, like so hyped, so excited to read this book, and it fell a little flat for me, or I didn't end up liking it as much as I thought I was going to. So not necessarily books that I absolutely hate that deserve to be in that video, even though there are a few repeats, but not too many. I didn't want to like just do the same video twice. But it's more so books that just I was so pumped for, and then they just weren't as good as I thought they were going to be. So I have compiled a list today of those types of books for you guys, the ones that have disappointed me. And so I'm just gonna get started and share the books with you guys. The first book on my list is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. And now I know so many people are obsessed with this book. They love it. The movie's coming out. Everyone's so hype about it. The thing with this book is that it was an enjoyable read. I did like reading the book, but it just sounds like such an exciting premise. Like, it's about this girl who's literally never been outside. She can't go outside, and then she meets this boy, but like, and I thought it was gonna be so much better than it ended up being. And then everyone says how there's like this huge plot twist, and it's like so crazy, and like, I called the plot twist from like page 5. Like, it really wasn't that unpredictable to me. Like, I totally guessed what was going to happen this whole book. So it just wasn't as exciting as I originally thought it was going to be. So that is why it's on this list. I do like the book still. I don't think it's a bad book. I don't hate it, but it was definitely a little bit too hyped for me when I ended up reading it. Next book I have to share with you guys is The Crown by Kira Cass. This book I actually do have a full review for, so if you want to see all of my thoughts, I will have it linked down below. But this is the 5th and final in the Selection series. It's also sort of like the spin-off to the Selection series, but it's still part of the series. I don't really know. It's about America Singer's daughter. And this is the final book, and I was expecting like a great finale, like a great final book, and it just fell a little flat for me, and it was boring, and it was predictable. But the thing with this book is that they tried so hard to make it different and make it exciting and make it have like this plot twist aspect, but it was just so out of the blue that personally I felt like it didn't really work that well. It was kind of more like, that's so random, why is that in the book kind of thing, more so than like, oh my god, that's so cool. So yeah, I didn't really love this book as much as I was hoping to, so that's why it's on my list. Next book on my list is This Is Where It Ends by Marieke Nijkamp. I'm so sorry if that pronunciation is wrong. It probably is 100% wrong. But this book was one that was super hyped about 2 years ago, a year ago, I'm not really sure. And it's about a school where there is an active shooter, and the whole book takes place over like an hour or something, where there is this active shooter in their high school. And this book was actually sent to me, and I did like a promo for it. But upon reading it, I did not love this book. Like, when you hear an active shooter, like, you're thinking chaos, you're thinking crazy, you're thinking, oh my god, like, I need to read this book, it's probably insane. It was so slow-paced for a book about an active shooter in a high school. Like, I don't really know how else to explain it. I really did not enjoy this book as much as I was hoping to. It was so hard for me to read that like I would put it down for days at a time and I wouldn't want to pick it up. Like, that's a huge sign for me, because if I love a book, I will finish it in one day. Like, I'm done with it. If there's a book I have that I've been reading for like 2 weeks, that's a pretty big indicator that it's really not going well for me. And so that's kind of what I felt like with this book. And obviously, like, a book about a school shooter, it's like important and it's interesting, but I just didn't love this interpretation of it. It just was not my favorite. So yeah, kind of sad. I know a lot of people really love this book, but yeah, This Is Where It Ends. So I only have 2 repeats from my Books I Hate video, because I didn't just want to repeat everything that I said in that video and it's like the same exact video. But one of the books that's on my list I can't find right now for some reason, but that is Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry. That book was just so hyped for me. Everybody was telling me to read it. Everybody was saying it's such a good romance book. It's everybody's favorite. Everybody loves it. So of course I gave it a try, and if you watched that video, you know I just did not like the book. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the plot. Like, I just hated that book so much for some reason. So that's definitely one that was disappointing, considering it was so hyped. Everybody told me to read that book, and it fell really flat for me. I did not like that book. So yeah, that's on my list. Next book I have is Consent by Nancy Olin, and this book is about a girl that becomes infatuated with one of her high school teachers. And that sounds like such a crazy, like, oh my god, what kind of plot, like insane. But this book just like totally normalized them liking each other. Like, it was like, yeah, this girl and her teacher are having this relationship, and like, it's fine. what? Like, no. Like, I don't know. I thought this book was going to be something that it was not, obviously. Upon finishing this book, I was kind of confused. I was like, is that really how the book just went? Like, that's really what happened in this book? Like, yeah, like, so yeah, it just was not what I was expecting, I guess. I thought it was going to be a little bit more, I don't really know. I don't really know what I was expecting with this book, but it just did not end up being how I wanted it to be, so it was really disappointing, I guess. And the other book that I'm repeating from my Books I Hate video is Cut Both Ways by Carrie Mesrobian. And you guys know, if you watched that video, I was super excited to read this book about this boy because it was a bi-representation book, which I was super excited to read, but I ended up hating the book. It was awful. If you want to know why, go watch my other video. But yeah, definitely one that I was super excited to read and I ended up disliking. So definitely on my disappointing books list. And the last book on my list of books that have disappointed me is Love, Rosie by Cecilia Ahern. And now this book I used to talk about, and it's not that I hate this book because I don't, but I was just super excited to read this book. One of my best friends at the time totally hyped up this book. She was like, it was so good, you need to read it. So I was super excited to get into it and read it. And it was just another one of those books that was super slow for me. It took me a little bit of time to get through it and actually read it. The whole book is told in like emails and letters. I don't know if you can really tell. And like iMessage is a completely different type of book to read, so it is a little bit harder to understand and read and grasp in that concept. But this book, I feel like it just kind of dragged on for a really long time to the point where I started getting disinterested in it. And yeah, it was just disappointing because I was super excited to read it and it ended up not being my favorite. So guys, that is my list of books that disappointed me. Definitely let me know in a comment down below if there's been any books that you were super excited to read and that ended up not being great, you didn't really like them. Definitely let me know down below, or if you agree with any of the books that I shared in this video, definitely leave me a comment and tell me down below. Other than that, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you've not already. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!
We live in an age where everything is staged, where all we do is fake our feelings. I've been scared to